Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the McKay Yoga channel. Today we're going to approach Pincha Mayurasana, the feathered peacock forearm balance. It won't be a long practice, it's approaching, so it'll be a shorter practice. We're going to focus on getting the shoulders prepared to do Pincha Mayurasana, the hamstrings prepared to do Pincha Mayurasana, and the abs. What you'll need is a block and a strap. And let me show you what I want you to do with the strap. So as we're getting ready, why don't we find a comfortable seat? Ideally, can you sit in between your feet? Because when you do Pincha Mayurasana, your legs are going to look like this. They're going to be straight. They're not going to be turned out. They're not going to be turned in. So I'm going to take my block. I'm going to call this the lowest height. I'm going to put it in between my feet. So as I'm talking to you and as you're preparing, we'll get the strap ready. So make sure that the backs of the calves are away from the backs of the thighs. And if this hurts your knees to sit in this position, you can sit in any position that your knees would not hurt. So you might have to sit in a cross shin position, even though our theme today isn't hip opening, it's not hip closing, but hip neutral. And then you're going to take a strap. Today I'm using an Iyengar strap, and it's prop heavy, but we really want to approach this safely and effectively. And as we do this posture again, we'll go deeper, right? So if you have that strap is going to go above the eyes of your elbows. So it's going to be in between the eye of the elbow and the top of your shoulder bone. But ideally, right above the eye of the elbow, you could say a little bit beneath the biceps. If you're using that strap, or maybe you remember the video that I did, that yoga is a snap with a strap, then you know how to use the strap. But if you're just joining me for the first time, you basically thread that strap through like you would if you were on an airplane fastening a seatbelt. So it's the same concept. The strap is going to instruct you in terms of externally rotating your upper arms and internally rotating your lower arms, which is really important for forearm balance, right? So now that you have your strap set, place that to one side. I also have these little cushions, right? And these little cushions, I'm going to show you how you can use them underneath your elbows if you like. Some of us have sensitive elbows, so it's just another prop. If you don't have anything, you could use a towel or a blanket. And then when we use the block, so I'm going to come off the block and sit on my feet. When we use the block, we're going to utilize the block like so. So notice, here's my hand. This is my index finger and my thumb. My index finger and my thumb are going to frame the block. It'll look like this. So when you do forearm stand, your elbows are bent. So here's the side version, front version, right? So now you have your block ready, you have your strap ready, you have some pads and a towel. Let's work with the shoulders first, right? So we're going to say that there are multiple component parts for doing Pincha Mayurasana. A key component part is shoulders, hamstrings, and abs. Let's do the shoulders first. And what I mean by component parts is that there's specific areas of the body that need to be like warmed up or educated in order for it to perform, or to do this complicated posture, Pincha Mayurasana forearm balance. So take your arms out to the height of your shoulders and cross your right arm on top of the left. So now your elbows are stacked. So now we're approaching eagle in the arms. Lift the forearms up, lift the fingertips up. Try to keep the elbows at the same height as your shoulders. Breathe into the fronts, the sides, and the backs of the body, and think about breathing in between your shoulder blades. As you inhale, open up the arms to the height of your shoulders. And as you exhale, we'll change sides. So now the left arm on top of the right, the left elbow is stacking over the right elbow. And for many of us, this staying right here is going to be plenty of work. Or you move on by lifting the forearms up and the fingertips up. If you are lifting the fingertips up, can you get all 10 of your fingertips to point straight up to the ceiling? Try to relax the muscles of your face, relax your jaw, and in this position, your shoulder blades are moving away from each other. Retraction. Okay? Now inhale, open the arms up. Exhale, release the arms down. So I'll turn around. We've done this before in prior videos. It's Gomukhasana, and we did that when we had that video about headstand and shoulder stand. But you could still use those same arms for forearm stands because you have external rotation and internal rotation of the arm bones. So it'll be great. I'll show you from behind. You could utilize your strap as well. I I have that block on the low speed in between my feet. Taking the right arm out to the right, I'm going to externally rotate that right arm bone in the arm socket, sweep the right arm up to the ceiling, bend the right elbow so the right hand touches the upper back. Then I'm going to take my left arm out to the left, internally rotate the arm in the arm socket, bend the elbow, and see if I can join the hands together. So in this position, I'm trying to point the right elbow straight up, the left elbow straight down. And then without taking my chest forward, I'm knitting my bottom ribs in towards my frontal hip points. So for this side, you'll see the back view. For the second side, you'll see the front view. But continue to point that right elbow straight up, the left elbow straight down, chin level with the ground. Stay here, inhale. Then when you exhale, unwind the arms, take the arms out to the height of the shoulders. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, release the arms down. So that was the back view. Now let me show you front view. Now we'll start with the left side. Take your left arm out to the left. Externally rotate your left arm in the arm socket. Reach the left arm up straight to the ceiling. Bend your left elbow, your left hand touches your upper back. Reach your right arm out to the right. Internally rotate the right arm in the arm socket. Bring your right arm behind you. Join your hands together. Now, what if you're not able to get your hands together? You could utilize your strap. And so think about your front bottom floating ribs drifting in towards your frontal hip points, right? You can think that maybe you have on a tight shirt and it's drawing in. Left elbow pointing straight up, right elbow pointing straight down. So I've already addressed the shoulders, which is a big issue for Pincha Mayurasana. Take an inhale here. And then when you exhale, open up the arms to the height of your shoulders. Take an inhale, reach the arms away from each other. Then exhale, bring your hands down. Now we'll move into downward dog. And we did a video, us did a video about downward dog. Downward dog is amazing. It's a great prep pose for Pincha Mayurasana because it addresses the shoulders and it addresses the hamstrings. And we know the best way to find our downward dog is to come in it from extended child's pose. Okay, so putting my block to one side, my strap to one side, my towel to one side. And then you're going to extend the arms forward and straight. So now the arms are separated the width of your shoulders, maybe a little bit wider, right? Especially if you have tight shoulders, going wider is going to make a lot of sense. And then I'll show you another variation. Take an inhale to shift your weight forward. My upper arms and my lower arms and my elbows are completely straight. When you exhale, curl your toes under, lift the legs to straight. You're in downward facing dog pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So the feet are about hip socket distance, the hands are about shoulder width. Bend your knees like your knees are hovering above the mat. Take an inhale here. Then when you exhale, extend the heels towards the ground and lengthen your chest kind of forward and down. See if you can position your ears in a way that the upper arms are framing your ears and your facial cheeks, even your neck. Stretch the thighs back, lengthen the inner and outer heels towards the mat. Stay here, inhale. Then when you exhale, walk your hands back to meet your feet. Protect your lower back as you walk back in that manner. Take another forward fold. So here we're still addressing the hamstrings. All 10 of your toes are pointing forward. The head is hanging. And maybe eventually you work the legs towards straight. So we want to have the hips over the knees over your ankles. And again, we're addressing the hamstrings. That's a good component part or a key component part for Pincha Mayurasana, for balance. And let's take downward dog one more time. However, this time we're going to hold on to the outside edges of the mat. So, as you can tell, I really like this mat, one of my favorites. Holding on, literally holding on to the sides of the mat. So hopefully you can see that my hands are wrapping around the sides of the mat. And so here, I'm really going to reinforce those shoulder blades on the back, right? Curl the toes under, lift the legs to straight. Now move your heart towards your thighs. Imagine you could rip apart the mat with your hands, plug your shoulder blades into the back body, specifically the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, and then really draw the head of the arm bones back into the arm sockets. Keep externally rotating the upper arms. Keep internally rotating the lower arms. All of those are really great cues for you as you approach forearm balance, Pincha Mayurasana. Stay here, inhale. Then when you exhale, lower your knees, pause. Have a seat either on your feet or in between your feet. So we've done the shoulders and we've done the hamstrings. Now we need to do some abdominal work, right? And we'll try to keep, the same looks, if you will. So we'll take our abdominal work in forearm plank. because our arms are going to look like this when we do Pincha Mayurasana forearm stand. So it makes sense to do that, right? So we'll do our abdominal work with forearm plank and side plank, all of it on our forearms because of where we're going. Okay? So come forward and lay on your belly. And when you lay on your belly, you're setting up for Sphinx pose. If you're on a really thin mat, you might need to have some padding underneath your pubic bone. So now my shoulders are over the eyes of my elbows. My hands are separated the width of my shoulders. My forearms are separated the width of my shoulders. And I'm really trying to press my inner and outer wrists down and my elbows down. So the hands down and the inner and outer wrists down and the elbows down are very important when you do Pincha Mayurasana because they tend to lift up. And that just, it's either weakness or tightness. It depends on what's happening in your body. For this round of forearm plank, I want you to keep the tops of your feet down. So hopefully you can see it because the back area of the mat is white. And I want you to see that the tops of my feet are going to stay down. And you're going to tuck your chin. And when you inhale, lift your hips off of the mat. Lengthening your sitting bones towards your feet. Press into your hands, the inner and outer wrists, the elbows. And then slightly draw the pubic bone towards the floor. And see when you press the tops of the feet and you draw the pubic bone towards the tops of the floor, you can really get into the pelvic floor. And you're going to need that as you approach Pincha Mayurasana. Stay here, inhale. Then exhale, slowly come back down. You're right back to Sphinx pose, right? Round 2 for forearm plank is to curl your toes under. I just had a senior moment there. I forgot what we were doing. Curl your toes under. And some of you might feel that the tops of the feet, you get that abdominal awareness. Some of you might get it with the balls of the feet. But whatever works for you, they're great abdominal preps for this pose, right? Then tuck your chin, curl your toes under, lift the inner thighs. Inhale. You're right back to forearm plank. Now don't let your butt go higher than your shoulders, right? Breathe into that space that's in between your shoulder blades like you did when you did Gomukhasana in the arms and like when you did Eagle in the arms. Press the heels back. Try to keep the heels over the balls of the feet. Press the hands down, the inner and outer wrists down. Try to lift the chest from the ground, but without really over-rounding the upper back. Keep lengthening your lower back and tailbone towards your feet. Maybe you feel a little bit of heat at the core of your body. Take an inhale. Now this time when you exhale, you're going to walk your feet to your elbows for dolphin pose. Heart moving towards thighs. Thighs moving towards the space that's behind it. Inner and outer heels reaching down towards the ground. Take an inhale here. Then when you exhale, walk back out to forearm plank. We're going to do list down a little bit more in forearm plank. So we're going to move forwards and backwards. When you inhale, shift your weight forward. When you exhale, draw your heels back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Just a few more. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back, stay here, inhale. And then exhale, come back to dolphin pose once again. Press those inner and outer heels down. Spin the upper arms away from your ears. Press the lower arms down towards the mat. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, lower your knees, rest, child's pose. So you got your shoulders warmed up. Education of external rotation and internal rotation of the arm bones in the arm sockets. You got those hamstrings warmed up, right? Stretching and lengthening the hamstrings. You're never going to be able to lift your legs up if the hamstrings are super tight. And then the core engagement. So we'll do a little bit more with the shoulders, a little bit more with the core, and we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, so now I want you to take your block. And we're going to hold onto that block in 3 different ways. So the first way, the block, I'm going to call this low speed, is going to be flat. And you're going to have your pinkies hold onto the block. So it's like you're serving the block to someone. So the pinky fingers are going to hold onto the sides of the block. And you're going to try to get your thumbs down. And we're going to do that in dolphin. Okay, so this is round 1. Block is down. I forgot to say, if you're wearing a lot of jewelry, you might have to move. So the pinky sides of the hand are holding onto the block. My palms are facing up, and I'm really trying to get my thumbs to come down. So this is going to reinforce the internal rotation of the lower arms and the external rotation of the upper arms. Those are very specific actions that you need to achieve in your Pincha Mayurasana. Curl your toes under, lift the knees off the floor, dolphin pose with palms facing up, or like you're serving the block to someone. Try to stretch the inner and outer heels towards the ground. Keep drawing the navel in and up towards the spine so you're not losing any of that core engagement, and keep spinning the upper arms away from the ears. Addressing your shoulders, your abdominals, and your hamstrings. Stay here, inhale. Then exhale, lower your knees down. The next round of dolphin is to karate chop. So now I'm really gonna think about the knife edge of my lower arms, right? Pinkies, knife edge of my lower arms. I'm really gonna try to karate chop the mat, karate chop the earth. Okay, so now again, the little finger, the pinky finger of my hands are bracing the floor. My forearms are bracing the floor, and I'm trying to rebound through my upper arms. Thumbs pointing up, thumbs up for sure. Curl your toes under, lift the knees up, dolphin round 2. Plug those arm bones into the arm sockets. Allow the head to hang. So notice if you're lifting your head up. See if you can let the head hang so your neck is even on all sides. You continue to press the thighs back, inner and outer heels towards the mat, and breathe. Can you still keep the muscles of the pelvic floor engaged? Stay here, inhale. Then exhale, lower your knees, rest, child's pose. One more round of dolphin, and it'll be classic now. So in Pincha Mayurasana, the hands are flat to the ground. Remember earlier, I held up the block, and I said the block was going to be held by the index finger and the thumb. So this L shape, right? So classic dolphin, perfect setup for your Pincha Mayurasana. Okay, round 3. Index finger, I can also say it this way. The index finger are running along the short side of the block. The thumbs are running along the long side of the block. Now internally rotate the lower arms onto the floor, and externally rotate the upper arms away from your ears. Press the hands down, press the inner and outer wrists down, forearms down, and let the upper arms rebound away from the ground. Curl your toes under, lift the legs towards straight. Now press the bottom tips of your shoulder blades deeper into your back body. Slide your shoulder blades up towards your waist. Draw the navel in and up towards the spine so there's a core engagement. Press your thighs back. Stretch the inner and outer heels towards the mat. Stay here, inhale. Then exhale, lower your knees, rest, pause in child's pose. So see if you can start to remember these elements for your Pincha Mayurasana, right? It's a huge pose. It's a huge balancing pose. Before we approach it a little bit closer, we're going to do another abdominal work, which is forearm side plank, right? So forearm side plank. Again, if your mat is thin, you could use these little pads on your elbows or a towel or a blanket to support that. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to start with my left side. It doesn't matter. I'm going to turn to face in both directions anyway. So I'm going to bring my left forearm down. I'm going to curl my toes under. So now I'm in forearm plank, and I'm rolling to the outer edge of my left foot. I'm going to come up to my fingertips. So my fingertips on my right hand kind of look like spider hands. And I'm really trying to draw a line from my shoulders to my hips to my ankles. And then I'm going to take that top arm up, reach it straight up to the ceiling. Stacking my right shoulder over the left, pulling my belly in, lengthening my lower back towards my feet, zipping my inner thighs, moving the crown of the head away from my tailbone, pushing down to rebound from the ground. Stay here, inhale. Then exhale, I'm going to cut those fingertips once again, the right one. I'm going to come briefly back to center forearm plank. And then I'm going to exhale, lower my knees down, just so I can change sides so I don't have my back to you. So now I'm going to go into forearm plank on the right side. So my right forearm comes down. I'm going to be on the fingertips of my left hand, and I'm going to stack my feet, right? So think Tadasana on its side. So ankles, hips, shoulders all in one line. And then turn your heart and chest so it faces towards your device. And then extend your top arm up to the ceiling. Keep pushing down on the inner and outer wrists. Keep that lower arm down as the upper arm rebounds from the ground. Crown of the head is reaching away from your lower back and your tailbone. Take an inhale here. Then exhale, you're going to unwind. Come back to forearm plank in the center. Shoulders, hips, ankles all in one line. Stay here, inhale. Then exhale, just for good measure, walk your feet in towards your elbows. Dolphin pose. One more huge breath here. Then exhale, lower your knees, rest. Child's pose. You're ready to approach Pincha Mayurasana, forearm balance. So if you have an area that supports a wall space, it's a great way to start to learn forearm balance. Think about, as you approach it, how can I do it mindfully without getting hurt and where my body is ready to take this step for this huge posture, right? So if you approach it slowly, mindfully, methodically, you'll have more success. If you do have a space that has wall, take your block at its lowest height to the baseboard of that wall. And then find your strap. And you're going to put that strap above the eyes of your elbows. You're going to adjust your clothing accordingly so there is no malfunction with the clothing. Okay. You've got your strap ready. You got your block ready. And again, if you have on a lot of jewelry, you might need to take that off just because you want as much surface area of your arms on the mat as you can, right? You can think of it also as the princess and the pea, and there's a pea that can throw your alignment off. I'll show you back and then side view. Well, first let me show you side view. Block comes down at the center of your mat. Make sure that your strap, if it's strapped and looped correctly, it's not going to fall off your arms, right? You're not trying to break the strap apart. It's just to remind you to not let your elbows splay. So I'll show you side view, then I'll show you back view. So then, like our last round of dolphin, the index finger and the thumb are going to frame that block. I'm going to call this part of the strap the tail, and I'm just going to move it out of the way. It's closer to the wall. Okay, so now my inner and outer hands are down, my inner and outer wrists are down, my elbows are down, and my upper arms are rebounding from the ground. I'm going to keep my gaze at the block, right? Curl the toes under, lift the legs towards straight. And a good way to practice is bringing the thighs or the legs closer together without externally rotating your thigh bones in the hip socket. You inhale and you raise your right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, raise the left leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, lower down. If you can, see if you can walk in just a little bit closer. Inhale, raise the right. Exhale, lower. Inhale, raise the left. Exhale, lower. Stay here, inhale. And then exhale, lower the knees down. So that's a great way to practice it. If you want to take up a notch, we'll just take a little bit of a leap. And then we'll do the back view. So we'll just take a little bit of a leap. Again, we're approaching Pincha Mayurasana. Same setup. Right leg's going to lift. And then you'll just take a little hop. Very quiet. Left leg's going to lift. You take a little hop. And then you just do it one more time each side. A little hop. A little hop. And then you lower down. You take a break. Slowly, mindfully. Making sure all of the appropriate body parts are prepared to do this advanced asana. And then another way to approach it is by utilizing the ball. So now my back will be towards you, and the block is going to be at the baseboard. Same setup. My index finger and my thumb are going to frame the block. This I'm calling the tail is going to be moved out of the way. And you come right back to dolphin. Great way to stay in practice. If you want to approach it, you could bend your left knee, take the right leg up to the ceiling, and take a little hop. And you might just go all the way up. Same thing with the other side. You might go all the way up. Then you mindfully come down. Remove all of your equipment. And then take a moment, take a breath. So this is how we approach Pincha Mayurasana, the feathered peacock. I had to do it. I had to do it. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like it, send me a comment. I take requests, and subscribe to my channel. Look forward to seeing you again. Until later, peace out for now, and ciao for now.